Hello everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent. Today we're diverting from the Forgotten Realms to talk about a revised campaign setting for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. We're diving into the history and lore of the Scarred Lands. The setting comes with new backgrounds, feats, spells, magic items, and subclasses, all specific to the Scarred Lands. It's a dark, gritty world, and if you're looking for a new world to play in 5e D&D, or if you're just interested in new settings you can steal from, keep watching. This is going to be a two-part video explaining the history of the Scarred Lands and its inhabitants. The world of the Scarred Lands is known as Skarn, and it is not what it once was. The setting's backdrop is the Divine War, or the Titans' War. When you start playing, it's been only 150 years since the Divine War concluded, which means for most humans, the war is something to be read in history books. But for other races with longer lifespans, the war is a terrible memory. Skarn is home to godlike beings called the Titans. Much like ancient Greek mythology, these Titans ruled over Skarn however they pleased. They ruled the world for over a millennia, and one day, on a whim, they decided to create life. The Titans created the sentient races, but also monsters because, well, they could. Not satisfied with their creations, they went further and created the Jinn, which are beings of elemental energy and strong magical powers. Other elementals followed suit, and these lesser creatures served the Jinn. The Titans enjoyed these creations, but weren't completely satisfied with themselves yet. They wanted children, creations that could match them in their own limitless power. So that's exactly what they made next, and their children became known as the gods. The Titans knew they had succeeded because these gods were mighty, strong, and powerful, but held lesser power than the Titans. Thus, the Titans could keep the balance, their strength kept them as rulers of Skarn. But their children rebelled, and unfortunately for the Titans, they had created their own downfall. Titans get their power from the earth itself, from the land of Skarn. Their children, the gods, receive power from a connection with mortal creatures of Skarn. The Titans always played fast and loose with the lives of the mortals. They were inconsequential, and if the Titans wanted, they could always make more mortals. So the races of Skarn started worshiping the gods and pleaded for protection and help. The gods guided and aided the mortal races, giving them bits of power in return for their worship and protection. It was through mortal worship that the power of the gods started to rival that of the Titans. The Titans, for the first time, had rivals, equals in power. They had never had to deal with that before. The Titans quickly discovered that it was the mortals who were feeding extra power into the gods, and with each new follower, the gods grew stronger. The Titans were suddenly flooded with a new emotion: jealousy. They were jealous of their children. The Titans took to torturing and mocking their children. They destroyed huge swaths of mortals in the process. This only pushed the anger of the gods further, and after a few centuries, the gods rose up against their Titan parents. The first act of rebellion was due to a terrible crime. Rinruik the Hunter, a Titan, grew tired of his regular prey and decided to hunt his own daughter. He caught her, raped her, and left her for dead. But she survived, and this terrible act of evil infuriated the gods. Plotting rebellion, the gods knew they couldn't straight up attack the Titans, so they came up with a plan. Starting with the weakest Titan, Mazos, they led him into a trap and ganged up on him all at once. Ensnared, the god Vengel hacked him into bits and dispersed his essence across Skarn. The gods had defeated their first Titan. They now knew it was possible. The Titans were not prepared. They had never had to deal with an act of betrayal like this before. The religious fervor created by this holy war strengthened the gods and gave them an army of mortals. The Titans saw this and created their own armies, monstrous and wicked races created in their own image. Battles raged across Skarn between Titan and god, monster and mortal. Often the gods would lead their armies personally into battle. Skarn was scarred forever. The land was broken, leaving desolation in the wake of the battle. Thousands perished on both sides, and nowhere in Skarn was one safe from this conflict. The gods did end up proving to be stronger. One by one, they overcame the Titans at the cost of many mortals. In the end, the main pantheon of gods survived. Many lesser and demigods died, though, often at cruel punishment from the Titans. Once a Titan fell, their personal created armies scattered across Skarn, hiding in the holes of the world. With each Titan destroyed, the gods became stronger, and after countless years, the final Titan was defeated. The gods were victorious, but Skarn had paid the real price. Cosmic conflict had forever changed the world. Nations were ruined, and the monsters created by the Titans now roamed freely across Skarn. Generally, though, they stayed in more desolate areas, hiding in fear from the gods. Although defeated, the Titans could never truly die, and potentially could return if the gods did not remain vigilant. Mortals suffered the largest price and were left to rebuild the Scarred Lands. The gods formed a peace among themselves and their followers, an alliance to stop infighting. But alliances are tricky things, and conflicts between gods and their followers have sprung up in the past 150 years since the Titan War. The Titan Deneve, the Earth Mother, is the only one to survive the Titan War. She made the decision to turn away from her fellow Titans and to aid the divine cause. Many believe she did not want to see her precious world destroyed by the Titans. Almost worshipped as a deity by druids and other nature-loving creatures, some find this Titan worship to be troublesome. And that's where we'll end today. Next week, I'll be back with another Scarred Lands video detailing the races and nation of Ghelspad, where your campaign in the Scarred Lands can begin. If you're interested in this campaign setting, there are some links in the description below. I recommend the Scarred Lands Player's Guide, full of information on the world with character options. There is also a Kickstarter going on right now for their Creature Collection, a Scarred Lands monster manual for 5e D&D. A great resource if you're looking for some new and interesting monsters in your campaign. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I will see you next week with another video.